Most of us saw the mini saga unfolding at the end of the Warriors-Cavaliers game the other night. After Jonathan Kuminga was subbed out for crunch time in the fourth quarter, Draymond Green had this heart-to-heart for over 2 minutes in front of the bench, even while the game was going on. But what no one noticed was what happened after that. 5 minutes after Draymond started talking Kuminga down off the ledge, there was a reviewed play and we can still see them having this discussion. But then, Kuminga disappears. The next time we see a shot on the bench, Kuminga is gone. We get a good look here of the full bench and it's clear Kuminga is not on it, nor is he there for the next few minutes. There's an empty seat next to Will Richard who's icing his knees, and we continue to not see Kuminga during this stretch. Obviously, this is problematic since the Warriors are short-handed, and even though he got taken out, you never know what could happen. Someone could foul out or get injured and Coach Kerr would call for him to go back in and he wouldn't be available. I heard he wasn't too far away, in the tunnel that connects the arena to their locker room, so maybe he just needed to blow off some steam. And to his credit, with 30 seconds left, we see Kuminga come back to the bench, although his body language pretty much says it all, wouldn't you say? His teammates leave him alone during this crucial huddle with the game on the line, and it was clear everyone was a little on edge considering the Warriors lost the game before this on a similar inbounds play that got thrown away. So this time, Draymond was relieved they were able to catch the pass and get to the free throw line to ice the game as Kuminga stands there dutifully. And good for him for cheering on Guy Santos for hitting the first free throw and for getting himself back together to be part of the team as it finished off the Cavs. But the damage had been done. Kuminga looks to be separate from the team during this huddle, probably still upset by the benching, which is a little weird since he hadn't played crunch time minutes for over a calendar month. So I guess this is just the culmination of a long stretch of frustration for him. Cut to Chicago the next night, and remember, this is the second of a back-to-back on the road, 4th game in 6 nights, with no less than 4 major rotation players not dressed, and Jonathan Kuminga gets a DNP coach's decision. I'm sorry, but this sounds to me like a silent suspension for his behavior during the Cavs game. And this game was a blowout, so there was plenty of opportunities to give him minutes with the result not being affected, which presents an interesting problem going forward, as the Warriors cannot trade him until January 15th, as per the trade-friendly contract he signed to start the season. Let's look at that Cavs game to understand A, why he got benched in the clutch, and B, what he needs to do to avoid another DNP in the future. The announcers even say it as the Warriors need some scoring punch when Steph Curry isn't playing.
Well, this is an opportunity game for Jonathan Kuminga because they need his offense in a huge way.
On their famous split cut with the ball in the corner, he fails to properly run his man off the screen, and instead of curling and cutting through, he waits for the ball and now has to jack up a 3 with the shot clock winding down. This is the kind of play that drives Coach Kerr nuts. As the secondary attack begins, the ball comes to a complete halt in Kuminga's hands, and he opts for a 7-dribble ISO to the baseline and, more importantly, can't hit the non-rim paint shot. And it's these shots that tend to be reserved for the best offensive players in the team, and yet he has never mastered it despite it being a large part of his shot profile. He has continued to create these isolation shots like he's Kevin Durant, but currently he's ranked 139th out of 145 players in non-rim paint shots, minimum 35 taken. At some point, if you can't hit him, you've got to stop taking him. And if we expand our view to the mid-range, he's not much better, ranking 83rd out of 116 players with at least 20 shots. And in this Cleveland game, he went 1 for 10, which can happen to anybody, but don't be surprised that Kerr realized he didn't have it going and put him on the bench to finish the game. It didn't help that they needed him to rebound and he wrapped up his man under the hoop instead of boxing out and just going for the ball. Not a huge deal, but we catch a glimpse of assistant coach Terry Stotts saying something to Kerr, who maybe gives a little shrug before trying to change the subject with some clapping encouragement. Now, this 3-ball by Mitchell wasn't caused by anything Kuminga did after the scramble for the rebound, and Kerr isn't always quick to take a timeout, especially with a double-digit lead this late into the game. And it wasn't immediately after the bucket, as if he mulled it over for a bit and then decided to call it. Remember, his team was on a nice run at the moment. I don't think there was anything he needed to change, but here comes Coach Stotts. Kerr even covers his mouth with a clipboard, and I'm pretty sure he's saying he needs to sub Kuminga out, and Stotts says, yeah, it's about time. When Kerr gets into the huddle, he tells Kuminga that Guy Santos is going in for him. Kuminga clearly reacts disappointedly before getting off the bench. As the huddle wraps up, Draymond then turns to Kuminga and begins having that intense talk before Kuminga eventually leaves the bench area. And if I were talking to Kuminga to get him to calm down, I'd tell him all about SeatGeek, the #1 rated ticket app with over 35 million downloads. The reason why I love using SeatGeek is because the variety of events to choose from is insane. Their ticket rating system tells you if you're getting a great deal, and each ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I got a code for you guys. You can use code BBALL2025 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code BBALL2025. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. And it's not like Kuminga didn't try to tailor his game to fit into the Warriors' offense. For the first 5 games of the season, it was going pretty well. Against the Lakers, he doesn't try to force anything in transition, patiently brings it back out to the wing before listening to Curry, who tells him to play off Draymond in the high post. This screen for Curry is perfect, creating all the focus on the cutter and opening up the backdoor cut for the nice inside hand layup. And then playing in their bread and butter low post split. He properly screens for Curry again at the elbow, as Curry draws both defenders with him on his cut, and this allows the easy kick out and in-rhythm 3-ball. This was also exciting, as they flipped the script and had Curry ball screen for Kuminga. You can see how the switch is a step late because Gabe Vincent was so worried about Curry, but rather than force a tough contested layup on the way down, he finds Horford on the cut for the easy deuce. It felt like real progress compared to past seasons where he just forced his way to the basket and try and power the ball into the hoop through fierce resistance from the defense instead of making the easier play for a teammate's shot. He had more leeway in transition to use his tremendous athletic ability to attack the rim, and in a perfect world, he'd be doing this 4 times a game for 6 or 7 points. And then playing off the pick and roll from the weak side, the short roller draws the help defense and he expertly cuts along the baseline for the pretty finish. This was exactly how Kerr wanted him to play and something that would have gotten him close to averaging 20 a game. But the honeymoon didn't last, and he went back to interrupting the flow of the offense to break off into isolation shots for the dreaded mid-range. In a make-or-miss league, if he insisted on taking the Durant-style shots, then he would have needed to make more than he is. Whether he thinks he has the talent to do this or not, at some point, if the percentages stay this low, it's time to adjust, especially when playing in your 5th NBA season. And these shots don't magically start going in on a different team and offensive system. Here's an example of the kind of rhythm Kerr is looking for on offense, as the ball gets whipped around quickly looking for an advantage until it gets to Kuminga. He could have split his feet on the catch to attack a slower defender or quick handoff to step out of the corner. To his credit, after the drive doesn't get penetration, he does make a good decision to kick out to an open shooter and earn the assist. Here's a good example of attacking on the catch that I was looking for, as a long closeout by a big is no match for his speed when making quick decisions. Now, Steph can hold the ball for a lot longer in this offense because, well, he's Steph. And they know he can draw 2 defenders whenever he wants to. The key is to get the ball moving once Curry gives it up, but it just dies on the wing into a stagnant pick and roll where Kuminga wanders into the corner and an easy double team that forces a bad dribble turnover. These can be seen as nitpicking his game, but over enough time and possessions, a coach would get a clear picture that he's not making the kind of decisions they're looking for consistently enough. Here's a good example where Draymond clearly sees an advantage with Jimmy in the post, so gets it right back to Kuminga, who should be feeding the ball down low and then setting a split screen for Pajemski or maybe even Steph coming up and around. Instead, he just jacks up the 3, and while it was open, shots behind the arc have never been something he's been able to hit with any regularity. He's way below the league average at 32%, and these shots represent 30% of his total shots. And his lack of gravity can gum up the works for Curry, as he blows by the clothesline from Jokic into space, but sees Aaron Gordon ignoring Kuminga to lurk in the paint. Again, this is not a bad decision to shoot it since it's open, but not at the expense of giving Curry more space. Luckily, they have GP moving in from the corner to slam it home, which is the area he needs to be operating in more. It's clear that when the others run their offense and collapse the defense, he's great at reading from the weak side on these cuts to the basket for strong finishes. The corner position is where the defense will rotate to help from the most often, and he can take advantage of his lack of gravity in his position, as his defender would be more willing to leave him on the perimeter. And the Warriors offense leads the league in passing by a wide margin for a reason. And this is also where he could benefit with his outside shooting, since this is the area he's found the most success with from the three-point line, letting the offense do the work to create corner catch and shoots that are usually pretty open and can allow him to find the rhythm and knock them down. When he's not in there, the team offense tends to work better because the ball has a better flow, and I believe that shots are easier to make when the defense is in constant chase mode and guys are getting consistent touches. If Kuminga can't be a part of this dance that Kerr has created for whatever reason, then it's time to convert him into a good rebounding big man, something the Warriors could desperately use if they want to get into the title contending category. Kuminga still has a lot of upside and could be a big piece in a trade, and his value could go even higher if he avoids meltdowns on the bench and soft suspensions from the team. He's got a month to turn it around.